Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snyk Live. We have a super special show for you today. As some of y'all may have seen on our Twitter, LinkedIn, other profiles, we had a security researcher discover a ton of malicious PyPi packages. And these are some pretty interesting findings. And Snyk's actually doing a lot to find more packages like this as soon as they're published. So we found them as soon as, we were able to, and we reported them and made sure that everyone was aware, got them taken down, and they're no longer available for download. So we're going to talk a little bit about how all of this happened. We're going to talk with the security researcher himself. So we are getting it from the mouth of the horse, so the saying goes. And I think it's going to be a really, really great treat for all of us today. And I know I'm going to learn a lot. Hope you learn a lot too. So without further ado, let's bring out our great guest here, Raul Onitza-Klugman.
Hello.
Hey,
Thanks for
Raul.
having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. So, Raul, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Snyk, just to get started?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a security researcher at Snyk. Been here for 3 years, a bit more. Loving every minute of it.
Awesome. Yeah, in Snyk, because our mascot's a dog, Patch, that's a long time because we measure it in dog years. So much longer than that, right? You have like elder wisdom because you've been here for so long. I think that's definitely the review you're held in, Raul. So yeah, Raul's actually a senior security researcher, right? I think we omitted the senior. It's well deserved, I'll say. So can you tell us a little bit about like what security research looks like at Snyk, and like how you sort of got into this, like your path to becoming a security researcher a little bit, like abridged, shortened version if you want, or as long as you want to go, whatever you feel like sharing today.
Sure, sure. So did not start at security at all. I studied electrical engineering and physics in college. Graduated and started working as a C++ embedded developer. So done a lot of low-level coding, some VHDL, so near to the hardware stuff. And after doing that for a couple of years, security always interested me. And I got my first role as an embedded device researcher. So did a lot of reverse engineering, binaries, protocol research, worked for a company for 5 years. Got a bit tired of all the ones and zeros, so took off for a small break. I was a bit tired with security as well. And after a couple of months, I started missing it. So I wanted to do something else in security and heard about Snyk. And here I am. So from like binary research to high-level languages, ecosystems, developer security. And this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me, as a fellow jack of all trades, you've just about done it all. So it makes a lot of sense. I think those people, who sort of have like all these different areas of like development and technology experience end up gravitating towards security because they understand, systems as well as their individual components. And, I think that leads to sort of, being able to approach things from like a hacker's mindset, right? Like if you can sort of understand the ins and outs of system, why it would be designed a certain way, then you can understand, why it is exploitable by design or, due to some misconfiguration, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's the same thing with like these cloud guru people, right? They can tell you the 15 most common things that are wrong with an AWS cloud configuration. So I think security researchers are a lot, they're two sides of the same coin, right? It's just like a super hardcore tech enthusiast becoming security people is like the way it's supposed to happen. So it's super cool. Yeah, totally. So yeah, anything else you could tell us sort of like about your role at Snyk, security researcher, doing this as a job, like what's that like?
Super interesting. So like the big advantage of doing this at Snyk is that I get to work with a lot of different ecosystems, and every project is a bit different. So I can work on something in NPM and JavaScript one day, and then another project can be cloud security, And so we get to use all kinds of cool stuff, different tooling, different approaches to analyze stuff. So it's really, really varied and interesting, and that's what keeps me going.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Security is super interesting just because there's something new all the time, and I think our team, the security R&D team, is a perfect embodiment of that because you folks are always finding new things, researching new things, and just like I think if you're doing security research, right? Like sometimes you spend a lot of time and you're like investing really heavily into a topic. Or trying to find a path to exploitation, or like trying to figure out a new way to break out a container. So I mean, so many examples, but essentially, you put so much time and effort into something, and it doesn't necessarily pan out. It's not exactly what you hoped it would be in the end. And I think security researchers, for the most part, are more okay with that than other people because we're used to, or I say we as security folks, but we're used to like failing a lot, right? And then the one time you succeed, that's enough. You just need to succeed once, right? So I think,
Exactly.
yeah, I think your job's super cool, Raul. So maybe we'll get into some of the planned questions then. So I think the job stuff's super cool, and I definitely maybe we can have you back another time to talk a little more about like security research topics. But let's get into the PyPi fiasco, so to speak. There was a discovery of like a ton of malicious packages. So I kind of have like a multi-pronged question here. Like, how did you end up starting this research? Like, how did this so to speak like come to your plate? And how did you find these packages?
Sure. So malicious packages has become a topic of interest for Snyk for like quite some time, uh, due to the rise of findings and instances, and out of the top of your head you can like list 5 of these like without effort. So
Yeah.
it has become something which is really, really popular, and Snyk decided to invest in that area, and we're really well placed to do that. I mean, we're obviously working closely with the registries themselves, and we're always monitoring, open source packages for vulnerabilities. So it's only natural for us to start looking for these things as well. If you can remember, like a couple of months ago, we published our npm malicious collector, which does some static analysis, and we found some cool stuff there. And since then, we decided to expand that to also do some dynamic analysis as well. So this is currently being in development. And while we were developing it, we tested some of our rules and hypotheses, and we found these packages, which was super cool because nothing better than find stuff while you're developing the tool. So it's like a good boost for our motivation and egos. Yeah, so this is how it came to be.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So basically, you were building a tool, sort of testing it, right? And
Yeah.
can you tell us any more about that, or is that super secret sauce at the moment?
No, sure. So basically, there are like these 2 big approaches to analyze, let's say, malicious stuff, right? So you can go static and you can go dynamic. So with static, you can analyze the source code itself, right? So we have Snyk code for that, which is like a great engine to do static analysis, and we use that. But you might be missing some stuff. So static analysis has like the well-known problem of false positives. Um, and so you get a lot of findings that you need to go over, and sometimes that can be difficult. So to complement that, you have dynamic analysis, in which you execute the target under test, and you monitor all kinds of signals. If it tries to access a remote host, what files does it modify? Environment variables. Does it try to execute another binary and such? And the list goes on and on. So to kind of have the total package, we decided to add the dynamic analysis. And the first rule that we actually used was to find which host does the package that we were looking at try to access. Because normally, besides downloading additional dependencies, you would not expect it to fetch all kinds of weird URLs and stuff. And this is how we came to find these 12 packages.
Wow. So kind of like when people are looking for tokens or passwords in their source code, right? Like there are high entropy strings, but there are other things rather than just things that look like base 64 or like things that look like a jot. Instead, so what you're saying is, we see a URL, or we see, in this case, I guess really the Discord CDN, right, in a URL.
Exactly.
Which we'll get into a lot. And if you check out, folks in chat, if you check out the article I posted, and I'll post it again, this is the research that we're talking about. So this is Raul's research. You can ask any questions you want at any point in time in chat. We'll get to them. But yeah, we do have a list of questions already for Raul. So feel free to add your questions. We'll do our best to get to it. So I think we talked a little bit about, how we scan and find these packages, which I think is super interesting. I think static analysis is extremely important, and it's the bread and butter, so to speak, of security. And like dynamic analysis, of course, is extremely important as well. So I guess like what interested you most about these findings, like when you found them? Was it that there is that Discord CDN, or was it, like, I know that's what interests our computers, right? We're looking for these signals, right? These red flags, so to speak, that could let us know that something is potentially malicious or like kind of strange, right? Doing something unconventional. But was there something else that you saw about these packages when you the human being came in and saw them? Were you like, this is kind of weird?
So yeah, like the Discord CDN was like the first hint that something is wrong. So the next thing that I did was naturally look at the setup.py file. So whenever you run pip install a package, behind the scenes, it will execute Python setup.py install. And whatever is in that file will get executed. So I looked into it, and then I actually saw that it tried to access those URLs, download two binaries, two executables, mask them as like kind of Windows weird files, run them, and then delete the files from the file system. So this is like by definition, the first stage of something smelling bad. And yeah, so that was it. And after I downloaded the binaries and tried to look a bit deeper, so I found out that these were actually created with PyInstaller, which is used to kind of bundle an entire Python application into a single file. So you have the Python runtime, dependencies, static files, obviously the source codes themselves, all wrapped up into it. And within that, you dig a bit deeper and you get to the actual malicious code. So the one that did all the token stealing and the malware injection. So I would say first, this is something that runs only on Windows, and I did not during my career deal too much with Windows internals and Windows binaries. So this was like, oh yeah, super interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm the same way. I much prefer to stay somewhere with a real terminal. Sorry, Windows. But yeah, I much prefer to stay on a computer with a real terminal. So I guess that really answered my next question, right? Like, so after you find these packages, like, what's the next step? What do you do, right? You're basically doing a manual analysis at that point. You're doing like a manual static. And correct me if I'm wrong, are you doing like a manual, like dynamic analysis on this as well in some way, shape, or form? I know that can be interpreted in a variety of ways, but are you doing any sort of like manual dynamic analysis, or is it mostly just like manual static analysis, reverse engineering the binaries, etc.?
Okay, so a bit of both. So like the first thing that I actually did was take the executables, run them in a VirtualBox on a Windows machine, don't share anything with the host, disconnect the network, and just double click and see what happens. And I got a Python exception. So I was like, oh, wow, then this is the hacker in me. I got to double click it. I got to see what happens. So yeah, and then I tried debugging it a bit, like running it with only debug and another one that I can't remember right now. So this is like the manual dynamic analysis. But soon enough, I just went through a lot of boilerplate code and things that weren't making any sense. So I said, okay, this is nice, but it's not getting me too far. And then I started, to kind of extract the Pi installer executable, dig into it, and find the binary or the actual .py files that were executed.
Yeah.
So yeah, the answer is both. You always throw stuff at something that you suspect that is malicious, and see what gives you the best return for your investment.
Awesome. And I just shared this too because you mentioned one of my favorite malware analysis and just like binary analysis programs of all time, Ollie Debug. Ollie Debug is awesome. You should definitely check it out. I know like development's frozen too, so if you want to get involved, I'm not saying you should, but please continue to work on my favorite code for free. Raul, was the other tool IDA Pro by any chance, or IDA Pro free?
Not in this case.
Okay.
I've used IDA Pro a lot, but like that's like that's a heavy gun.
Yeah.
And fortunately enough, I did not need to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love IDA. Best out there in my opinion. Used a couple of more, Ghidra as well.
Yeah.
Love them all, but yeah, IDA rules. Sorry, folks.
Yeah. I've heard mixed things about Ghidra. I've heard Ghidra's awesome, and then I've heard from some people I really respect that Ghidra's not too great at the end of the day. But I think that's a
not
controversial.
as good, but it's also free.
It's free. Yeah, it's on
Give it
GitHub.
a plus.
Yeah, that's true. Gotta give it up to the NSA for putting out malware analysis tools for free. That's pretty cool. Gotta admit. NSA built tools, so go check out Ghidra too. That's a fun one. So we talked a little bit about that. Yeah, a little bit about reverse engineering, right? And then you actually get to the malicious code, and then once you confirm something's malicious, we like disclose it to the registrars, right? Like whether it's on Debian or Ubuntu, or whether it's in PyPi or npm, right? We're going to disclose that and add it to our own vulnerability database and alert customers using the stuff, right? So that's like usually what happens with like our in-house like first-party security research, right?
Yeah, definitely. So you gotta have that confirmation, right? And in this case, tons of malicious code. So we've got all the proof we needed once we got to the source code. And then after manual verification, we reach out, do a responsible disclosure, alert the registry, add this to our vulnerability database so our customers will know that these packages with the specific versions are malicious and that they're protected. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's super valuable because obviously there are very few, I think, folks doing open source research, right? Just on like the entirety of open source ecosystems whenever a new package is published, just making sure that they're able to alert the public as soon as possible. So I think we're kind of, if package repositories, right, were like a pipe in the game Mario, right, like a tube or something, like we're just waiting there with the magnifying glass, right? Like kind of, right?
Exactly.
We're just waiting. So
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. I think that's like extremely beneficial for like open source and security and just like technology, right? Like an always vigilant set of eyes, right? And it's like Patch the dog is just standing there waiting for like something to pop out of the tube, right? So I like that a lot. I like that imagery. Maybe we should do something with it. So from your opinion, should we expect to see like more activity from this adversary? And can you tell us more about this adversary?
Yeah, well, I don't know them that much. I mean, it was like the same user, will not disclose the name, but same user, same email address. One really curious thing about this is that it actually injected a Discord malware, and the source code for that was publicly available on GitHub. So in the malicious code itself, it was base64. It was obfuscated, I think, and once you deobfuscate it, you saw all kinds of strings, and I just ran a search on GitHub, and all of a sudden I'm seeing the repo. So it was taken down by then. So I'm guessing that's the same actor. Whoever published that malware on GitHub is the same one that uploaded these packages. But yeah, I mean, if we will see in the future someone, again, dealing with these Discord CDNs or something similar to these areas, I might, definitely identify them and, say that I've seen this before.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, sorry, I don't have nothing to add.
No worries. It seems like Discord, the Discord CDN specifically, because you can upload EXEs, you can upload all sorts of things, has become increasingly popular for malware actors, right? If you can get wget or curl or something on a box or anything, basically to hit the CDN, you can essentially pull down your boutique custom firmware for whatever architecture you've detected that you're now running on, right? So yeah, I think it's a super interesting like malware delivery method for sure. Let's see.
With malicious packages, by the way, it's even easier, right? Because you can fetch everything from the source code. You don't need no curl, you don't need no access. Just have it in the package, right? Use the API. So easy
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, definitely. If you already have a package running on the host, it's essentially effortless at that point, right? You're already there, and if you're using something like PyInstaller, right, like this adversary, then yeah, you can just bundle all your executables in the package. So I think that's incredible. But let's see. I think it was interesting that the adversary was going after Roblox currency, right? Like that's a super interesting thing. The Discord CDN, it's like that's kind of interesting, but like I think we're seeing that more, right? So like the Roblox thing and like checking the Discord balance and injecting itself into Discord, right? So for folks who, when Raul said, right, like that this malware had a Discord injector, what that means in like maybe like slightly simpler terms is the malware, because he said it was deleting itself, right? It's deleting the traces of itself. So what the malware is doing is it's actually putting itself inside of the Discord process that's running on your machine already in order to disguise itself, right? So when he says that Discord, like there's a Discord injector that's on GitHub, what he's saying is there's a GitHub project that is open source that you can use in your malware, right? Like this person used it in their chain of malware, right? To get in there and maintain persistence afterwards, right? So that's what they were using it for. But you can essentially hijack, right, the Discord process, sort of jump in and essentially, inject, malicious activity, malicious code, right, into the Discord process. And that's what this actor was doing to maintain persistence and make it hard to detect and all sorts of things. Is that about right, Raul?
Pretty much. Is it okay if I share some code? Let's see that.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I'll give you the screen
Cool.
share ability right now.
Okay.
Shout out to Clark.io. Hi, Clark.io. Glad to see you here. If you have any questions for Raul about the PyPi malware fiasco, feel free to pop them in chat.
Am I sharing my Sublime
here,
editor?
I'll add it right here. Yeah, now it's up.
Okay. So this is the class that's doing the Discord malware injection. And we can see the self.code argument, right? So it has the obfuscated string, and it's a long one. Okay, so what it will essentially do, it will find where Discord is installed on the machine. So it will go through these Discord directories. If the path doesn't exist, it will skip. If it does, it will get the core directory and create an index.js file, write this malicious code into it, and just start your Discord. So essentially, when Discord will run, it will load this index.js file, and it will get executed, and essentially your Discord will get infected with this malware. So this is something pretty awesome. And yeah, this is exactly how it's done.
Wow, that's awesome. It's always cool to see live malware samples. I read this book one time. I mean, I'm sure you probably have a copy of this like on your table. Some people call it the malware Bible, but it's called Practical Malware Analysis, or some people call it the Alien Book too, because it has like an alien on an operating table like this. I'm sure you probably have that memorized, right? Like front to back.
Yeah, actually, no. Like I've heard about it, but doing malware analysis actually is like kind of a first for me too. So I'm definitely going to check that out.
We
Wow,
should
I
have
haven't
some
read the
fun.
malware Bible.
We should have some fun. We should have some fun, Raul. I love this book, and yeah, there are a ton of malware labs. You can reverse engineer Heartbleed. Like, the solutions to all the labs are like in the back of the book. It's super fun. Maybe we should start like a malware analysis study buddy group here, like at Snyk. Get all these people dissecting malware.
Let's go.
It'll be super fun.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we should do it. I think we should do it. That'll be super fun. Okay, so um, well, I'm curious, right? We talked a little bit about PyInstaller, right? But were there any other languages or frameworks that were used in this like chain of exploitation?
So beside that, and that GitHub repo, I don't really think so, actually.
Hmm.
I'm guessing this piece of malware, like it's not, something entirely original. So like I've seen quite a few places where this is used. But yeah, I mean, it was a first time for me to see someone, running a malware that is hosted on GitHub. So that was like a shocker, right? So it's open source all the way. We legit code malware, anything goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been removed since. But no, I don't think so.
So, is there anything interesting about like this particular type of delivery method aside for yeah, like the injector being a free open source tool on GitHub? Is there something interesting about or like novel, right, about like this sort of attack, right? We're talking like, open source software repo to a public CDN or something like that, to pulling down an exe potentially, and then, causing pwnage in this case, right? The injector. Um, do you think this is like interesting or unique, or do you think this is just like a dime a dozen sort of like, get used to it, like it's going to rain again sort of thing?
Yeah, and it rains a lot. I mean, this is like like one of the textbook ways to do it. So, and we've seen like a lot of examples. So you will get this, let's call it bootstrap or first stage payload, right? Which will download something from a remote host and then execute it. So the entire malicious code is not, contained within the package, because a lot of eyes are looking at it. But by itself, this is enough. So if I see something that downloads, a remote binary or script or whatever, this is suspicious by itself already. It hasn't always been like that. I'm guessing when, adversaries started using these third-party packages as delivery methods, they would just, they'll be lazy. Put everything in the setup.py, it will get executed, or in your post-install script, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's a cat and mouse, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the methods have evolved, and I'm expecting to see more of these, definitely.
Totally. I think that makes sense. Especially the part about like the package not containing the malicious payload, right? It's like bootstrapping itself. It's the first stage, and then it moves on to the next stage, right? So it's like it's chained. It's not like it's not like a sort of brute force sort of approach, so to speak, right? It's like it's definitely crafted with intent. It might not be the most technologically complex piece of malware that we've ever seen, I'm sure, right? But it is definitely indicative of the changing times, I think, like multi-stage, approaches to stuff like this, and um, not necessarily like living off the land in this case because you're using PyInstaller to like bundle and package everything together, but it's reminiscent of it because it's using tools on common ecosystems, right? So it's like almost like living off the land malware. Um, so yeah, like if the first stage gets passed, then the second stage is, they're just assuming they're going to fly by. I mean, unless you have like, runtime executable stuff, and like, I mean, just analyzing for injections in processes is complex in itself. We won't get into that. That has a lot of overhead. So even AAA game studios that have been making video games for years and years, computer games, multiplayer online games, right? They're susceptible to DLL injections, which, allow hackers to load menus in their games and ruin the experience for, every other player in that lobby. So it is a nuanced and complicated issue. It's not just like you can say, Discord, solve all, process injection stuff now, otherwise nobody would have this issue, right? These games wouldn't have this issue. There wouldn't be hackers and, all these popular video games. So I think, this is not going away, right? Like this sort of exploitation, and the path to exploitation, it might seem a little new to some of us, but I think to seasoned, grizzled vets like Raul, right? Like this is just indicative of, changing currents and like the direction that this stuff's going in, right? So open source repos, public CDNs, getting a foothold on a box, and then moving to second stage exploitation. So I think that's super interesting, and definitely something I'm interested in analyzing more. I want to get reversing malware. Right now, we got into the code for a little bit. I want to get into reversing some malware. We got to set something up. But what would you say is like the state of malicious packages across various ecosystems? Are there like package ecosystems that are more prone to these types of attacks, and some that are like maybe less prone to these types of attacks? Or like, is everything burning down? Is there no hope? No, I'm kidding. I know that's not the case, but like if you're to like examine a couple maybe like package ecosystems, are there some that are adopting some good practices and like not allowing this to happen, and are there some who like maybe aren't necessarily keeping up with the threat actor activity?
Yeah, so I think NPM is the more prone due to its sheer size, like over 1 million packages. It's super popular, and we've seen like countless examples there, and they keep coming. So if you have like NPM on one end, I will say the Python package index, RubyGems, or kind of in the middle. And there are some that like I haven't seen at all, like NuGet, for instance, the .NET package manager backed by Microsoft. So they are actually doing a really, really good job. So they're trying to verify the publisher of each package, and signing the packages, and their name spacing. So like you cannot upload something that looks like a Google package. And they have put in place, a lot of measures to kind of protect from these things. I'm guessing they're also, vetting these. So like if you upload a package, there will be a scanner going through it, and they're also looking for stuff. But like NPM needs the most work, but it's improving, because the registry is growing, and they have their security team, which is also maturing, and a lot of companies such as Snyk are looking. And once you get that community attention to a problem, then things are improving on one hand, and the adversaries are learning and adapting on the other hand. So it goes both ways.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's interesting that you mentioned the .NET ecosystem, because I know a lot of folks who, they work with .NET systems, legacy and new. And I think they sort of said a similar thing. Like they're not necessarily like worried about malicious open source software packages. They haven't seen a lot. They haven't had experience with any. So I think that's really interesting. Maybe it's something we should look into for some research. Wink, wink. See how hard it would be to get a malicious package published. But given the chat ideas here, remember to do this in a legitimate context. Don't do this in an illegitimate way. So I think that might be worth trying. But it sounds like there's a lot of verification, and like now that they have GitHub, right? Like there's probably going to be some sort of way to do it through there that might be interesting. Verify that this repo is what it says it is. This package is what it says it is. Through like GitHub keys or something. So I think, and that this person is who they say they are, right, through their GitHub keys. So I think that would probably go a long way in that sort of ecosystem, and just that's a very normal thing, right? Like we've had PGP signing for like such a long time. So it definitely makes sense to do stuff like that for package ecosystems and just like verify that people are getting what they think they are, right? Verify those hashes, right? Like make, I mean, obviously a different problem there, but yeah, verify that you're getting the package that you think you are. I know somebody in PyPi, right? They had requests with 2 S's at the end, and that got a ton of downloads, and it was like a malicious package, and I'm pretty sure we wrote about it and everything, but it's as simple as that in some ecosystems, right? You get a name, you put something up there, and then you twiddle your thumbs for a bit, right? You wait. So I think that's super interesting. I think we definitely got our work cut out for us, and I'm glad that we have Raul as that extra set of eyes, right? Looking for things coming out of the open source pipe, and seeing if it's good or bad. So I'm glad that I don't have that job because it sounds very, very hard. So thank you, Raul. Let's
I'm not alone. We're an entire team.
Whole team. That is true. Let's give it up for the team though, and Raul for finding this. So I think claps in chat if you're here. But let's see. Do you have any fun research plans for the future? Like, what can you share with us? I know, like security research. Sometimes it's sensitive. You got something planned. You don't know if it's going to work out. Is there anything that you can talk about? It's not just super hush hush.
I'll talk about my personal interest, okay?
Yeah.
not to give stuff away. So after we concluded our Visual Studio Code plugins research, so we presented that in a conference in South America. It's called Echo Party, I think. Yeah, remember the name. And the host asked me, well, I'm not using Visual Studio Code. I'm more like a Vim guy. What about that? What about the good old tools? So I was thinking, right, like there are a ton of other editors and IDEs that might be interesting to look at. So this is like something of a personal to do that I left myself at my spare time to look at it.
Ooh.
Doesn't have much of it, but definitely interesting. And yeah, I would say in the hat of Snyk, I think that cloud security is gonna be something that we start seriously thinking about. So cloud native applications, what happens when you transition to the cloud? All of a sudden you get a cloud service provider involved, and there are a lot of interesting stuff there. Obviously, a lot of companies are also operating in that space. So, but definitely something interesting to look at.
I have an idea for some Vim malware. We should talk about this later. I have an idea for something that could be particularly nasty, some Vim script stuff. I think it could be super fun. Like a worm, right? And if you open files, it'll embed some script in it, and then if somebody else opens that in Vim, they'll embed some Vim script in their Vim instance, and then it would spread from install to install. I haven't figured out exactly how to do it, but I thought it would be fun, like a Vim worm. So
we're the good guys, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm happy to say that I have never developed anything like that and then just put it out there. So, gonna try to keep that record clean. I like my job, so.
We all do.
Yeah. So, although that chaos would be something of a different level entirely, right? Like if everyone who opens their files in Vims is accidentally embedding Vim script in it, that's going to be picked up by another Vim instance. That would be great, but obviously not if you're actually doing something malicious with it. So yeah, I think we could do something fun, right? Remember, full disclosure, don't do anything malicious ever without permission, right? Without permission. But I think this leads really well into my next question, Raul. It's kind of just about doing security researcher stuff, right? So how could someone start doing security research, and what steps should they take to become a security researcher like yourself, right? If they're maybe at home watching this live stream right now and they're like, whoa, Raul has a really cool job and he's doing some awesome stuff. I want to be like Raul. Where do I start?
Yeah, that's funny. So I'll say, everything you need is out there. I mean, there are a ton of amazing people doing awesome work on Twitter that you can start following. Start doing CTFs. A lot of fun, right? I mean, you get to learn tons of stuff, and there are really good and popular ones. So go on CTF time, pick the next one. There are, those for beginners, those for experienced hackers, and get your hands dirty. I mean, you don't learn swimming by sitting outside of the pool and looking at the water. So you gotta get into it. You can do also some bug bounties, right? I mean, most of the top companies these days offer bug bounty projects, so you can start hacking them and helping them improve their security, and getting your hands dirty on real cases. Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are infinite, and it's a great time to become a researcher or a hacker or whatever you will call it, right? I mean, you have so much to learn, and so much is out there. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're into web security, if you're into memory corruption, whatever. Like whatever interests you, there's you can find a ton of repos. You have like these awesome lists on GitHub. So yeah, I mean, Google.
Definitely. I think CTF time is a great resource. CTF 101, Hacker 101. Oh, hi Davis. The VOD will be posted. Don't worry, you'll be able to get all the info as well. The VOD will be posted on YouTube and Twitch, so you'll be able to catch up with the whole conversation with myself and Raul. We're basically talking about malware and security research, and just some fun stuff along the way. So welcome Davis. He's one of our regulars. So thanks for that. I think that's definitely going to be some useful information for folks. I also dropped the Twitter and the Discord in chat because I think those are great resources. Obviously here at Snyk, we're always publishing new research that you can learn from, such as what we were talking about today, the PyPi malware that we discovered. And in Discord, we talk about all sorts of things DevSecOps related. We get all sorts of questions from red teaming to blue teaming to purple teaming to just whatever you can think of, really. It comes through the Discord. So feel free to hop in there. You'll also get notified when we're having a show like this, in case, that is a better way for you to stay in the loop. But it is tons of fun. And reach out to me in there. I'm just Kyle in there. And happy to chat. We got a new random channel, which we're using for memes. So that's always a ton of fun. People are starting to post memes in here. It's been a long requested feature of the Discord channel, the Discord community, to have a memes channel, and all sorts of things like a book club coming soon, and in-person IRL meetups, all sorts of events, live streams, etc. So definitely be sure to check it out. And if you have any feedback, let us know. Awesome, Raul. I think I've worked through all my questions. I'd love to ask chat. Does anyone have any questions for Raul? This is your time to ask a security researcher, a real one. Your burning questions, those questions that you've been trying to, just find someone who can answer. Now is your time. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the way that you can leverage, all this world-class security research from these world-class security researchers is by signing up for a free Snyk account today. And I did say free because you can sign up for Snyk for free. You get hundreds of scans a month, whether that's IAC, open source, proprietary code, whatever you're scanning, you can get tons and tons of scans for free a month. Some people never actually pay $1. So go ahead, give it a try. I dropped the link in chat so that you can learn more about it. But I really think the IAC and container tool is awesome. And with the container and open source tool, you can do automatic pull requests. So I think that's a really, really big win as somebody who used to manage security teams and had hundreds and hundreds of repositories that I had to work on. Raul, we have a question actually from our friend Davis here. Is OSINT the best way to do research? I think we did sort of talk about how like a lot of the stuff that you need to get started doing security research is like out there for free, right? Like there's Ollie Debug, there's IDA Pro free, right? There's DLL Walk, But do you have any ideas about this? Is OSINT the best way to do research? Like, how would you interpret and answer this?
Definitely, it's a good start, right? I mean, also when you start working, you tend to develop your own tools. So you build up your scripts, because sometimes you tend to face the kind of the same problems all over again. A lot of these are like solved and available, and there are a lot of like great tools out there, right? I would say that, for instance, for IDA, like the free version is kind of limited. So there, if you want like a real strong binary analysis and reversing tool, then you definitely need to invest quite a lot for like a real license. But like I haven't really found a case where there wasn't an open source tool available for a job that I needed, like a good one, a decent one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And OSINT, for those who don't know, is open source intelligence. And I know I mentioned the malware Bible, but there's also the OSINT Bible, right? And not to be confused with the actual book called the OSINT Bible, but there's a book called Open Source Intelligence Techniques by Michael Basil. And I'd like to post a link to that because I like that book a lot. I'll just put the name of it. So it's Open Source Intelligence Techniques, and it is a great book, and it will teach you all about OSINT and different methods. This guy actually used to use Instagram pictures to help the FBI track down victims of human trafficking. So I thought that was extremely fascinating and just one of the most wild things I've ever heard. So I would definitely look into that. There's like a section on like every type of website. It's like Facebook OSINT, Google OSINT, Instagram, LinkedIn, and he updates it all the time. So OSINT is a pretty good way to do research, and like open source tools, like Raul was saying, great way to do security research. And yeah, I mean, if you put the two together, right? Like, I mean, there are a lot of open source tools for OSINT, right? So yeah, I think OSINT is more like I don't want. It's like a spear, right? It's like a very targeted device, right? OSINT is very targeted. So yeah, I think that's a great question. And then Hellraiser, is asking a pretty off-topic question, but it's cool. So they're coming from DEF CON a couple weeks ago, and there was a severe enterprise switch vulnerability, right? And it was disclosed on Krebs as a vulnerability in the EAS. Worth checking out. Coming from improper deserialization of logs in the GUI viewer. So like Hellraiser, I'd ask, and Raul, feel free to answer this too, but I'd ask basically, what's the result of this improper deserialization? Is it leading to arbitrary code execution? What's the sort of impact of this? But it sounds interesting. I don't think I heard about this. I was at DEF CON too. It would have been cool to meet. I would have given you some cool Snyk stickers and stuff. I know I've seen you in the chat a couple times. So thanks for dropping that on our radar, though. Have you heard of this, Raul? I don't think I've heard of this.
No, not really. Would be interesting to look at it, but yeah.
Yeah, if you have any info, we are in the Discord, and my Twitter handle is also right next to my face here. So feel free to just drop me any sort of reference. I'll check it out. It's bad. I mean, I don't know if we'll cover it, but if you want, we can. I don't know, maybe I'll do a stream like this, but yeah, we can totally cover it another time. I think we are coming up on our time with Raul here. It is, close to his end of day. We're on the other sides of the world over here, so I'm really glad we could make this work, Raul. You can pass files across VLANs. Okay, we got to talk, Hellraiser. You got to join the Discord. we got to chat a little. That sounds cool. What was I going to say? Yeah, so we're coming up on our time here with Raul, other sides of the world. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we can make this work. And basically, would love to have you on again next time. So yeah, if there's ever anything, you want to share, or, you want to do another thing like this, or there's something cool that you see that you want to cover, would love to have you on. We can sort of just talk about security stuff and pretend that it's work. That's what we do over here. and just sort of have a good time with it. So yeah, really, really glad you could make it out today. And
Thanks a lot. Had tons of fun. Thanks for having me, and definitely come by again.
awesome. You're the best. Thank you so much. This is Raul from what I always say is the best team at Snyk, the coolest team at Snyk Security R&D. They are the rock stars. They are hiring too. Security R&D is hiring. You know what? I'm going to drop that in here. Why not? Y'all deserve it. Twitch chat deserves it. Y'all are some dedicated people. Here for you, for your friends, whoever that may be interested. You can work at Snyk too. If you see another role that interests you, just hit me up on Discord. Let's chat about it. Let's get you in contact with some folks from the team. We are hiring for this team, Security R&D, the rock stars, who put on the show for us, the lead guitarist of Snyk. That is Security R&D. So thank you so much, Raul, for coming on. I'm going to remove ourselves from the stream here, play the funky music, give you all a nice outro, but please, please, please do come in the Discord. Check out the link from Stream Elements right under Clarkio's message. Raul's Twitter. Let me get you Raul's. Raul, can I give him your Twitter?
Yeah. I'll send it to you. Just a sec. Oh, where did it go?
I'll get that for you right now, Davis, right before we leave. I think I have it. Oh yeah, here it is. I got it. That is Raul's Twitter. Feel free to keep in touch, and we will probably post some more fun security research in the future. Awesome. Thank you, folks. Great to see you, Davis. Great to see you, Jaylane81. Jaylane81, what is up, Hellraiser? So good to see you again. Clarkio, pleasure as always. One of our greatest and most ardent supporters. So thank y'all so much for coming by. I'm had a lot of fun as always. Can't wait till the next one of this. Keep y'all posted in the Discord. See you later, folks. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.